a bridge over the ocean does not constitute the factual glory of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Ramachandra, whose spiritual body is always engaged in various pastimes. Lord Ramachandra has no equal or superior, and therefore he had no need to take help from the monkeys to gain victory over Ravana. So if you go to the shloka, it says, it gives us an understanding. Two things we learn from this, that whatever Lord Ram did on this earth millions of years back, that is called as a Leela. And it is very important to understand the difference between Leela and activity, normal activity, what we do, and the Leela, the activities which the Bhagwan, when he comes here, he does that activity. There is a difference. And here, the the glory of Lord Ramchandra is given. That what is the glory of Bhagavan when he comes to this world? So here, the very great activities of Lord Ramachandra, they are listed. For example, there is says he killed the great Ravana who was unconquerable, and then something unimaginable nobody can do in the whole world, that he constructed a bridge across the not river but the ocean, and the stones and mountain peaks and like that. The expert, the showers of arrows, which Ram was very expert in making it. So these are some of the very extraordinary activities are given here, that these are very extraordinary activities which Lord Ram did. But then Shukadev Goswami, who is giving some understanding of this here, he says that na idam yasho raghupate, that actually this is not the glory of Ramachandra. Although we say that, oh, he built a bridge and then he killed Ravana and then he kind of created a huge army of monkeys and bears and then whatnot he did. So he says that this is nothing. Why? Because Lord Ram is Bhagavan who has created millions of universes, and he's making these universes float in the space. The galaxies are floating in the space. For him to float one small bridge 100 kilometers, what a big thing. So he is just expanding the understanding of God beyond our small limited capacity. So, for example, people say that Krishna is so great that he lifted Govardhan hill. And that is great, no doubt. But then, one who is lifting the whole earth, he is making this whole earth float in the space. For him to lift one small mountain at one corner of this earth, what is big in it? So that is nothing for him. So here we understand that God is not just extraordinary, but he is beyond that extraordinary also. And then here we understand that whenever Lord comes to this world, he says, Surayancha Yatta, that Sura means the demigods. So he was called by demigods, managers of this universe. They having different departments like rain, wind, fire, and like that. So there are varieties of departments, and these demigods, Devata, they are the department heads who are responsible for upkeep of this universe. They manage. So they requested that please come, and that's how the whenever the Vishnu incarnates or Krishna comes personally or Ramachandra is coming, he doesn't come without a request. So we were hearing in one of the class, one of Maharaj was telling that he said that this is what the Lord Bhagwan means. That even the great personalities who are managers of this creation, they on their request he comes. Nowadays, it has become a fashion that somebody becomes famous on YouTube or he gets some 10-15,000 of followers, and suddenly then one day he's announced as कलयुग के भगवान आ गए अभी. So it is not like that. So one doesn't become Bhagwan just by some little followers and little magic. So here we find that what that Bhagwan means. Bhagwan means whose activities cannot be matched. Nobody can come even close to such activities, and he comes here on request of these great personalities. And that's how he says here that for him, when it comes to, like we hear that he went and make a kind of friendship with Sugriva, and then he got huge army of the monkeys and bears, and then he attacked Ravana. So some people say that just see that when even Bhagwan comes here, he also needs help, and see he also needs a friend and like that. But then that is not a proper understanding, because when God comes, God doesn't need somebody's help, because God has full powers in him. He, for example, he doesn't need to go to Lanka to kill Ravana. He can kill Ravana just sitting wherever he is. He can just send one arrow, that arrow goes to Lanka and kills Ravana and comes back. He doesn't have to do any extraordinary thing. What to speak of arrow? He don't have to shoot arrow also. He has to just think, and his shaktis are so powerful that the opponent will be killed on spot. Just imagine now, currently, Lord's creation is so great that even a small uh, virus which is not able to be seen by our eyes is creating such a havoc. So just one small insect, one small bacteria can create a fear, terror in the hearts of millions of people all over the world. Can you imagine person who has made this whole world with all powers who can stand in front of him? So Lord doesn't need anybody's help. Lord is independent and he can do anything. That's why here he says that when he comes here, he does Leela. Leela means the activities which are transcendental. Transcendental means which are beyond mundane calculation. That is called as Leela. The So when Lord does, that is called as Leela. When we do, that is karma, activity. For example, when Lord Ram is fighting, that is called as Leela. When we fight, police comes and then we are under bars. So that's why it is not called Leela. You can't tell people when the police comes, we can't tell Leela chal raha tha thoda. No. Abhi khatam ho gaya hai, ab jao. So they say you do Leela inside. So that is the difference. This example is given that if, so for example, Birla is there, who is very rich, and as a casual evening activity, he goes out in his garden and start giving water to the trees because he just want to relax. He's in his Bermuda and just giving water. So a person who knows him and he's just passing by and sees that this great industrialist, now he's standing on Bermuda and giving water to the trees. First thought will come to his mind is, Arey, I had heard that Indian economy has flattened and so many people have lost jobs, and it appears that this Birla also has become bankrupt now. Now he has to work like a Mali gardener to earn his livelihood. Very bad, very bad. Like, क्या हाल हो गया है? Corona has made everybody very. So if he thinks like this, that is ignorance, foolishness. So when he is doing that work, that is not considered work. That is his fun. So what is this Leela? The generally work means we work very hard to achieve something. We study very hard to achieve some marks, to achieve some degree, and we achieve some degree so that we can get a job, and then we work very hard in job so that we can get money because we want some nice flat and car, and then in our relationship also we have so many friends. Why we have so many friends? Because we need their help in future something happens. So anything which we do, we have a need, that we either need some security, either we need something, and for that we do that. But then for Lord, he doesn't need anything. Neither he needs money, neither he needs uh, knowledge, neither he needs to be famous. He doesn't need anything. He's already having everything, and still he works. That is called as Leela. We see that even Krishna goes to Gurukul, Sandipani Muni, Krishna and Balaram. So it is not that Krishna is like a small boy who doesn't know anything, and then he goes to Gurukul to learn ABCD, and then he learns languages, and then he learns history, and then geography and things like that. No, nothing like that. Krishna knows everything. Krishna only has created the whole geography. Why he needs to go and learn? But then he goes, that is called as Leela. Just as a fun he goes. Not that. So similarly, when Krishna, Ram, they come, all their activities should never be considered ordinary. Many times people they say that देखो भगवान भी यहाँ पे आते हैं ना तो उनको भी कितना तपस्या करना पड़ता है, उनको भी कितना भोगना पड़ता है। देखो राम ने क्या कम भोगा, कितना तकलीफ हुआ। तो लोग बोलते देखो भगवान को भी भोगना पड़ता है तो हम भी थोड़ा टॉलरेट करना चाहिए। तो ये गलत फिलॉसफी है। This is not the right understanding that God also has to suffer sometimes, because although he's God, but he also has to suffer. So that is not proper understanding. Proper understanding is that he is in control of everything. He does all these things as a fun. So today we are seeing some of the pastimes, Leela of the Lord, which happened in Ayodhya, and then leaving Ayodhya, he goes to southern part. So whatever time we have, we'll try to cover few of the things where we learn some lessons. So we all know that the great Ayodhya means the kingdom which was so strongly built that no enemy can penetrate and conquer it. That's why it was called as Ayodhya. Very difficult to fight. युद्ध करना जिसके साथ बहुत मुश्किल है. That is called Ayodhya. So that was built by the Raghuvamsha kings before. So this Raghuvamsha starts with, Raghuvamsha also is called as Surya Vamsha. From the Surya Dev, the dynasty starts. Surya, it comes in Bhagavad Gita that how Krishna gave this knowledge in the beginning of this creation to Surya, Vivaswan. And then Vivaswan Manave Praha Manur Ikshvakave Bravit. That इक्ष्वाकु जो महाराज थे, जो सूर्यदेव के बेटे मनु के बेटे इक्ष्वाकु, तो ये इक्ष्वाकु जो थे सूर्य के पोते, ग्रैंड सन ऑफ सूर्य, he constructed this Ayodhya. So this Ayodhya was constructed in the beginning of this world only. Ayodhya is not just recent update or something like that. And then the whole Surya dynasty or Raghu dynasty was ruling in this Ayodhya. And many great kings comes in this great lineage of Lord Ram. One of them was Raghu, and that's why this whole Vamsha is called as Raghu Vamsha also. And Dilip and many other kings, they come in this lineage. So one of the name you must have heard also, Bhagirath, who was responsible for bringing Ganga. He did great tapasya for great endeavors to bring Ganga on this earth. His name was Bhagirath. He also was in the same Raghu Vamsha. So Dasharath Maharaj, who was the king, and he was such a great king that sometimes he has to go outside of this earth also for fighting, because whenever there is to be kind of fights outside, generally nowadays they have sky wars, space wars. So previously that used to be there, and now also they are there. So whenever such space wars were happening, they used to sometimes take help of Dasharath Maharaj. So Dasharath Maharaj, he had such a special ability that he could fight with 10 people in 10 directions at a time. So that was his speciality. That's why his name was given like that, Dasharath, that his ratha, his chariot, could travel in 10 directions, that he could conquer all 10 directions like that. A very powerful king. Only thing is, in this world, we can see that somebody may be very powerful, very influential, very wealthy, but then something is always missing in life, which makes us always little feel that if only this one thing was there, I would have been so happy. And Dashrath Maharaj was no kind of, he was not in different category. This is the same category. He had everything except one thing, and that was practically eating him up. And that was, he was not having any son. And you can imagine, huge property, huge everything, and then there is no heir to the whole kingdom. So in that case, he did that first Ashwamedh Yajna, and then after that Putrakamishti Yajna he did. And in that, he got the sweet rice payasam as a result of that whole yajna, which he distributed to his three queens. So first was Kaushalya, Kaikeyi, and Sumitra. So they all got these four sons: Ram, Lakshman, Bharat, and Shatrughna. So one very interesting thing is this: Ram was born to Kaushalya, and Lakshman was born to Kaikeyi, and these two were born to, sorry, this Bharat was born to Kaikeyi, and Lakshman and Shatrughna, they were born to Sumitra. So generally, normally, Lakshman and Shatrughna, they were brothers. They're like, and others were like stepbrothers, Bharat and Ram. So after they were born, they found that all four kids, they were very much crying, and they were not stopping only their cry, because Lakshman and Shatrughna, they were together and crying loudly, and Ram and was separate and Bharat was separate. So they were not knowing what to do. So when the Vashishta came, he said that these four, they have special personalities. They cannot be away from their respective pair. He said that you take this one child, Lakshman, and put him in with Ram, then he will be happy. And he said this Shatrughna, you put him with Bharat, then he will be happy. So when this child were taken and kept next to Bharat and Ram, then everything became very quiet, peaceful. So some of the acharyas, they give this understanding that, as all of you know also, that our society depends on these four purusharthas. Purushartha means the objects or the goals of a human society: dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. So these are the four purusharthas that a society is supposed to live on these principles. So dharma means religious activities, activities benefiting our soul, atma, and benefiting others, keeping God in center. So these are the spiritual religious activities. That is called as dharma. Dharma means, for example, going to temple, chanting God's names, then performing varieties of uh, festivals like we are celebrating now Ram Navami, Janmashtami, or going to Dham like Vrindavan, Mayapur, or so these are all religious activities which we perform. And then next is called as Artha. Artha means the the prosperity comes by dharma. When you follow dharma, then one becomes pious, and by that piety, by that punya, he achieves prosperity. That is called as artha. Artha means everything which is needed for happy living. That is called as artha. So artha is not only the money. Artha means everything, whatever is needed. And kama means after getting these facilities, we use these facilities along with our family, friends to be happy in this world. So that is called as a kama. We enjoy these things. And the moksha is we understand that whether it is artha or kama, they are very temporary. And then we understand that ultimately we have to go to God. And then we try for the liberation, that is called as moksha. So in this case, we find that when the kama and artha, the all these four, they are compared like that. So Ram, he is dharma rakshak, dharmavadi. So he represents dharma. Lakshman represents artha. Shatrughna represents kama, and Bharat represent moksha. So, and we can see their life also like that. Bharat, he was kind of doing tapasya was his happiness. The kind of tapasya he did in absence of Lord Ram, we can't even, we'll die only if somebody even try to follow what he did. And we see that Lakshmana was full of all the, he was very expert in making things available for Lord Ram for his service. That's why he's called as Lakshmana. He says Lakshmana Lakshmi Sampanno. So he is compared to Artha. And Bharat, Moksha, and Shatrughna was compared to Kama. So when the Kama and Artha, they both are together, that is a very disastrous combination, very problematic combination, that all the facilities are used only for enjoyment. Then it creates, they were crying only. So the whole society cries only when everything is used only for enjoyment. But then we find here that artha has to be used for dharma. And that's why we find that Ram was served by Lakshmana. So the facilities which we have, what facilities we have? We have some intelligence, we have some time, we have some money, we have some special skills, we have whatever. When that is used in God's service, that is a perfect combination. And the Bharat and Shatrughna, moksha and kama, they have to be together. That means we should enjoy in such a way that will lead to moksha. We should not enjoy in such a way that it affects our body and make other people suffer. That kind of enjoyment is useless. For example, in this world also we enjoy, But then our enjoyment should lead to coming close to God. For example, now everybody is practically feeling as if cooked in home because of lockdown. They are like tired seeing the same walls and same faces, and they can't go out much. At least in between, there was some chance of going out for 1 2 months. Now again, things have become back to the square. So people, they want to go out and enjoy freedom little bit. So there is, in Krishna consciousness or in bhakti, that is not kind of said no to it. We should surely go for outing and uh, kind of picnic. But then we go to picnic in such a way that it will make us come close to God. So devotees also go to picnic, but then they go to Talasri, and then they go to Vrindavan, they go to Mayapur, they go to Udupi. So we do such enjoyment which will make us close to God. Not that people, they go to bar and then they drink and smoke and they spoil their health, lose their wealth, and ultimately nothing is there in their hand. So that is very important that we enjoy, like for example, eating. Why to eat mm, fast food and which is so slow to digest, and then the whole life becomes very miserable. But then we eat very nice food stuff, we offer it to Krishna as a prasad, we eat it. So what prasad we eat, even a billionaire will not have in his lunchbox. The devotees eat that much. But because it is offered to Krishna, that is, we enjoy eating food which is offered to Krishna prasad. And every morsel we eat, we are coming close to God also. So Krishna consciousness is a way of life very filled with happiness, fun. But then not only just fun, but it makes us come close to God. So like that. So in one instance, it happens. Prabhupada was once taking prasad, and then he was discussing that how otherwise there are so many processes of achieving God, and he said that all these processes are so difficult, and in Kali Yuga they don't, they have no effect. Like sometimes some, like now Kumbh Mela is there, and we find so many Naga Babas and so many sadhus and so many, like they are going there in Kumbh Mela, like that. So there are so many ways and means to achieve God. Some people, they go to Himalayas and stay there in the snow, and so many things. Very hard life. But then Prabhupada was telling we don't have to do all these things. He was just taking prasad, and he just, gulab jamun was there. He just took one gulab jamun, popped in his mouth, and he said, for us, like this eating gulab jamun, we'll go to Krishna. We don't have to go to Himalayas and do upside down and you do some yoga asanas. We don't have to do that. Eating nicely like this, we'll go to Krishna. So bhakti is process by which makes our life filled with uh, susukham kartum avyayam. That is called as. That it is very enjoyable, at the same time very effective. And in such situation, when whole Ayodhya was very happy, and Dashrath Maharaj was happy, his queens were happy, everything was going perfect. And the day came when Ram was to be coronated. And Dashrath Maharaj, how the thing that also went like Dashrath Maharaj, when he saw one white hair while combing, he understood that white hair means I have to take now voluntary retirement scheme. So अभी होता है ना वो. So then he said that now I have to retire. Now my sons have become grown up, so it's better that maybe Lord Ram can become king now. So he came and he asked his ministers. Ministers were so happy. They say, yes, yes, immediately we should make Lord Ram king. And practically everybody was feeling that, yes, yes, Ram should be king. So Dashrath Maharaj thought that at least when I put this proposal, some will say that, nahi, nahi, Maharaj, aap thoda ruko, or, you know. So एक ने भी नहीं बोला कि आप रुको करके. So he was feeling भाई, मुझे लगा क्या रे, दो चार तो लोग बोलेंगे, नहीं नहीं महाराज, आपके बजाय कैसे होगा, without you how can we do, वगैरह वगैरह. So then he asked all these ministers. He said that, is there any wrong that nobody even kind of trying to tell that, be here, you are almost pushing me off. So did I do anything wrong while doing this maintaining and things like that? So now when the king is asking like that, what is my mistake, it's very risky sometimes. If you tell the mistake to the king, there is a khatra hai jaan. Anything can happen. He can just. So one very intelligent minister was there. He said that, Maharaj, you have no mistake. The kind of perfect kingdom you ruled. But he said you have only one mistake. And that one mistake is you have such a nice son like Lord Ram. So that is only your mistake. That everybody loves him so much that we all want that he should become king as early as possible. So he was very happy. And then we see that the nature of this world is that any time it can turn. So in one night, the whole the game changed. It became like 180 degrees only. And that also because of one Manthara who had her evil motives. And this Manthara was so kind of powerful. Of course, in one sense, that was Lord's plan. Because if Lord is enjoying nicely in Ayodhya, then who will go and kill all the Rakshasas? So there should be some reason for the Lord to come out. So there Manthara comes, and then Manthara tells the Kaikeyi that, tomorrow Ram's coronation is there, Rajabhishek is there. Kaikeyi was so happy. Now also if you go to Ayodhya, this is not a time now because Corona is there. But later on, you all can go with Vijay Madhav Prabhu and Parthapriya Prabhu. So you have some camp yatra. So there now also we have palace. So they say that when Ram and Sita were married, in that whole Ayodhya, one palace was the most beautiful, and that was gifted by Dashrath Maharaj to his favorite queen. So in that palace, Kaikeyi was staying. So that palace Kaikeyi gifted to Sita to live, because she loved Sita and Ram so much that she gifted her home He said, okay, you stay here. So that was the love of Kaikeyi. That Kaikeyi loved Lord Ram more than Bharat. So she was so happy that, okay, Lord Ram is becoming king. Very nice. But then Manthara, as evil-minded she was, she started preaching. And the problem with Kaikeyi was she gave her ear. She allowed her to speak and hear. So that mistake she has to repay. Manthara told that, see, the world is not what you see. And then she said that, when this announcement was done, she said this announcement was done 7 days before. He says, really? He said, yeah, you see, the whole Ayodhya knows, all the queens they know, Ram know, your husband know, all the ministers they know. Only in Ayodhya, only one person doesn't know about this, and this is Kaikeyi, you. Why such politics is done? So he said that Ram is so nice, then why he is doing politics? If you feel that this is very nice, then why it should be done in such negative way? Do they think that you are culprit, you are villain? That's why you are not told. And she started telling that you are such a noble lady. I know that you love Lord Ram, and then you just see how is your response. You are so happy. So although you don't have anything wrong in your heart, then why people are not telling you? So she just put the the poison of doubt in the mind of Kaikeyi. And then she started telling that, just see, now Lord Ram looks that he loves you and things like that. But when the situation changes, nobody's can be called as friend and enemy. It all depends on situation. And she was so expert in giving, uh, she gave an example also. He said, see, the lotus is considered the friend of sun. Why? Because when the sun comes, the lotus blooms. So when the sun comes, it blooms. When the sun goes, it closes. So that's why it is called as a friend of sun. When sun comes, he becomes very happy and blooms. So I was telling that same lotus who becomes bloomed in the presence of sun when it is there in the water. But if you take that lotus, pluck it off and put it on the bank, he said, then the same sun is not his friend. That same sun practically destroys that lotus, and it just becomes like a dried thing. So he said, Ram, now it looks that he's your friend or something. But when the situation changes, he becomes a king, then you see what he will do. Then his mother will become the Rajmata, you become servant of Rajmata, and then your son also will just become a chaprasi. He'll become a servant, and then your life will be like hell. So now it was not a reality, but then when all these things were told very systematically, she felt that this is what the reality is. So we see in our life also many times we imagine so many things, we imagine threats, we imagine future things, and then we are practically lost in such imaginative anxieties, imaginative fears, imaginative, and then normal life we cannot lead properly. That's why they say that the the anxiety or the such kind of negativity, that is like a sitting on a rocking horse. You have seen the small kids, they have that rocking horse, wooden horse. So you keep rocking there for 1 hour also, but then you don't go ahead even 1 inch also. You are in the same place. So similarly, you can be in anxiety and tension for 2 hours. And what happens by that? Nothing happens. You are wherever you are. Rather, you go back also. So there is no point in having the imagined problems in our life. In this case, the Kaikai would have just gone to Ram and asked, "Ye kya hai? What is this? Why you are doing like this?" Rather than just kind of think that, okay, this is how the things are. So many times we have a lot of difficulties in our relationship just because of some perception that we perceive. So many times you see that, Are, this friend, why he's looking at me like this? Last 2 days, he did not message me. Is he angry with me? I had sent him one message, but he did not, replied back. What it means? He doesn't like me, or he is very proud, or what? So anything can be there. He is so busy, or but then we think that because he has not messaged me back, maybe he's a bad person. He's not my friend. So we see that even small things we immediately try to imagine, we stamp it, and then that's how we spoil the whole show. So here also the whole Ayodhya was put into such a mess when Lord Ram, they heard that he is going for Vanvas for 14 years. So from the peak of happiness to uh, depth of misery in one night only. So that is the problem when we live only with perceptions which are not true. And then when Lord Ram went inside the forest, he was so happy actually because he was away from the managerial responsibilities. And generally in our life, we get a 2 days holiday, or sometimes if 2 3 holidays are combined together, we get some 4 days holiday, or sometimes we may take leave and we get 1 day, one week holiday. But Ram got 14 years holiday. You can imagine Sita, Ram, Lakshman, they were very happy. They said it's very nice. And they took full benefit of that. So that is another thing, that whatever happens in our life, it's not what happens, but it's important that how we respond to what happens, which makes our life either happy or miserable. So now Ram could have been miserable 14 years, crying that, oh, what this, uh, why a bad thing happens to good people, and cry that, for 14 years. But then he took it that, oh, 14 years I have now, let's go and take association of devotees. And then he was going from one ashram of sages to another. And then he was spending time with them and understanding, hearing different kathas like that. So he was there in Chitrakoot. And when he was there in Chitrakoot, almost for 12 years he was there in Chitrakoot. So that is a very beautiful place in North India, where Lord Ram, Lakshman, and Sita, they spend maximum part of their Vanvas. And Agastya Muni, he requested them that now you proceed to southern part of India and come to Dandakaranya. He said that is the most beautiful place. You will be very happy to live there. The plan was this only, because the Rakshasas were staying in that Dandakaranya. And they knew that unless Ram comes face to face with Rakshasas, the the fight will not start. Otherwise, the whole Vanvas will end, and then Ram goes back to Ayodhya, and then Ram is happy, and we are not happy here. We so many Rakshasas here. So they wanted that Ram goes and faces the Rakshasas and finish them off. So then they comes the whole Ram, Lakshmana and Sita, they travel from Chitrakoot to Nasik. So Nasik was a part of Dandakaranya. And the name Nasik came because the Nasika, the nose and ear of Shurpanakha was cut by Lakshmana while saving the Sita from her. And where that Nasika fell, that became Nasik, where very Panchavati and many other places are there now also. All of you can request Vijay Madhaprabhu to take one yatra, so that there is very nice place. There is a Panchavati where they were staying in one ashram. There is a place Sita Gufa where Sita was hiding when the 14,000 Rakshasas came to attack Lord Ram. When they saw that their sister, dear sister, Surpanaka Mataji, was treated badly by Lakshmana. So then they came to take revenge. And here also one thing is there that when Ram was going for Vanavas, Ram, he said that I'm going now. So Sita said, no, I want to come. Ram said, no. He said, no need. It's very deadly jungle. There are so many man-eating Rakshasas and so many animals. It's not good for you. So he was flatly denying Sita that it is very dangerous and it is not good for you to come. So Sita was feeling like, just got married and then I want to be with Ram, and Ram is not even hearing on me. So then Sita changed the gear. Sita said that if I don't say anything now, I will miss the whole opportunity to go with Lord Ram. So Sita became little harsh. Sita is never harsh because Ram is her worshipable Lord. But she told Lord Ram that she said that I don't know now when my father will hear this, that Lord Ram, whom with so much confidence he gave his own daughter, thinking that Lord Ram is very powerful. But now when he will come to know that his son-in-law is so fearful that he has no capacity to protect my daughter, and with that fear he kept the daughter at home only, and he didn't allow her to go with him. So she said that my father will be very unhappy that to whom I married my daughter, he is not able to even protect. So that hurt Ram like anything. That it was question on his caliber only. So then somehow Ram agreed to take Sita, and Lakshman also joined. So although they were going in so many places, but that shot was there in Ram's heart. So when this revengeful Rakshasas they came, Khara, Dushana, they were like generals in the army of Lord this Ravana. So that Janasthan, that Nasik area, was one of the outposts of Ravana. So that was like an extension center of Ravana. Main center was there in Lanka, and many extension centers were there all over the world. So one of them was Janasthan. The whole forest was infested with this very dangerous Rakshasas, and there were 14,000. So they attacked Ram, Lakshman, and Sita. So, and they were so angry. They thought that we'll just finish this people off, and the whole history will know that what happens if somebody touches any member of Ravana dynasty. Let the whole history knows that, and then we'll show today the effect of such reckless activity. How can they dare to even touch Shurpanakha? So that was their thing, and so they came. And when Ram saw it, Ram told Lakshman that you go and take care of Sita. I'll just fight it off. Lakshman said, no, no. He said that these are simple Rakshasas. You don't worry. Just give me some time. I'll finish them off. You be with Lord. You don't have to take such trouble. You be with Sita. No, no worry. Have faith in me. I have seen many such things. So don't worry. Ram said, no, no. You be with. You protect Sita. I'll go and finish them off. So Lakshmana was little kind of telling that no, why you are taking unnecessarily. So then Ram told him that, see Lakshmana, this is our personal matter. ये अंदर का घर का मामला है. So you go. This is my job now. I have to do. And then within a half an hour only, Ram finished all this 14,000 powerful Rakshasas. And it was appearing as if a huge hurricane has devastated the whole army. And Sita was seeing that from a distance. And she was so proud that my husband is such a hero, that because Sita had never seen Lord Ram in action. So when Sita saw, she was very elated. She was so happy. So then when the whole thing happened, then Sita was glorifying Lord Ram, that I'm so proud. And then she said that now my father will be so proud. If he would have been here to witness this, he would have surely enjoyed it. So then Ram was little pacified that, okay, now. So after this, Lord Ram goes back to uh, Kishkindha, where he make a truce with the monkey army. And there also we again find that how just because of one small mistake, there was a confusion between two brothers, Wali and Sugriva. Although they were very close, very loving brothers, but then the material world is such that there is a always misunderstanding. So I was remembering one devotee, they were giving a kind of seminar on how to cross the mountain of misunderstanding. Like they're international speakers, so they were going different places, and their title of their seminar was this: how to cross the mountain of misunderstanding. So when they were the, when they went to their guru, and then he asked, so what is your topic? And then our topic is this: how to cross over the mountain of misunderstanding. So that Maharaj was telling them, but do you know when you cross the mountain of misunderstanding, what is next? They said, no, that. He said, when you cross the mountain of misunderstanding, next comes is the ocean of misunderstanding. So it's like that. So the thing is, the whole life is filled with so much of kind of understanding, misunderstanding, and perceptions, and because of that, so much of relationship kar hota hai. And then even simple things becomes very painful. But then Ramayana, we find this thing that to the degree we keep Ram in center, to the degree we keep Krishna in center, to that degree, all such misunderstanding can be resolved. Then, because when, for example, although there was a misunderstanding between Bharat, he was misunderstood like anything. He was considered the villain by practically everybody. They thought that because of him, the whole thing happened. But then, after seeing him very sincere, then everything was resolved because he was so uh, devoted to Lord Ram. So we see that when we are practicing Krishna consciousness, when we are practicing the life of a sacrifice for God and His devotees, then our life becomes not only the kind of smooth, but it becomes meaningful. That we have some meaning to the life. And I'll tell you, people are not frustrated because they don't have things in their life. But many times, even people who have things in their life are still empty. So that emptiness is because of lack of meaning, that purpose is missing. Otherwise, everybody is day is same only. They get up and then they take breakfast and then they go out for job and then earn money and then maintain the family and then maintain kids, and then that things goes on. Everybody is same only. But then while doing all these things, if you don't have higher purpose means if God is not in the center, then everything becomes meaningless. After sometimes we start thinking, Array, I raised these kids up. Now these kids are not hearing me. And then what did I do? Good thing or what? I had so many friends, but now where are they? So did I wasted my time or what? So much money I have in bank balance, but now somebody goes to hospital, his life is in danger. He thinks that then what? That whole thing was a waste or what? So we see that practically everything is tested in our life. But then if we have one thing which kind of makes things meaningful, and that is Krishna consciousness. That if Krishna is there, Lord Ram is there as the purpose, then all other things becomes perfectly at their place. Then we have some meaning to do things. So it is 12:30 now.
Moji, you can please continue. It is just like, we're just drinking the nectar right now, which is coming, and I'm actually seeing a lot of comments also. There's a huge public demand for the next week class by you as well. So, yeah, maybe you can continue for 10, 15 minutes more. Is that okay with you? If you have time. I mean, I don't want you to
Okay.
again. have time, we would love to.
Okay, I'll 10 minutes I'll take.
Sure.
Uh, okay, so I'll touch upon some of the uh, controversies in Ramayana, which generally people have some doubts. For example, how can Lord Ram banish Sita in the forest? She was not at fault. So this is not proper. That woman is supposed to be protected, and for without any reason, that woman is banished in forest without any support. So many times the Stree Mukti Andolan type of people, they are damn against this activity of Lord Ram. That how Ram can be so insensitive towards women. So they said that because Ram is like this, then what will happen to other world? Others will also follow the same thing. That they are torturing their uh, women now. So another is they feel that how can Ram unethically kill Wali? That Wali was powerful king thing, and then hidingly Ram killed Wali, who had like Ram and Wali were not enemies. They had nothing to give and take, and that also, if Ram has to fight, he would have come front to front and fight. Why hidingly he shot Wali like that? So few more things are there like that. Who uh, the questions are asked. So at least these two will take and see that how we see that in the light of our scriptures. What is the principle behind this? So specifically, when we talk about Wali, Wali was very powerful. We can't say monkey. Monkeys are not the right word. So Vanara is some different species only, because you find that these Vanaras, they were talking. They were talking, walking Vanaras. So generally, monkeys, they don't talk. They just go around here, they're jumping up and down. But these Vanaras, they were very powerful, more powerful than human beings, and very supernatural powers. So this Wali was had such powers that even it says that even once Ravana had come and he wanted to fight with Wali because he heard that some very powerful uh, Vanara is there. So his idea was that I'll defeat Wali and then make him part of my army. He also becomes. So Ravana came. Ravana was so powerful. Once Ravana, he kind of took the Kailash mountain and he wanted to kind of pick it up. So that was his power. So he put his hand also down and wanted to pluck the whole Kailash. But then somehow by the power of uh, Shankar ji, that couldn't happen. His hand got stuck down. But then such powerful Ravana also, when he came, Wali was doing his Gayatri and he saw that Ravana is coming from behind to attack him. So he didn't want to get disturbed in his Gayatri, chanting Gayatri. So when the Ravana came behind, in his left arm, he just pushed Ravana and kept tight. And Ravana's throat was choked and he couldn't do anything. And then he finished his Gayatri, and taking Ravana, he jumped from that place to another place. So this was happening in Rameshwar. That was a everyday job of Wali. That one Gayatri he will do in Rameshwar, another in Dwarka, another in Puri. So he will jump to do Gayatri there, then jump from there to across the whole country and then do Gayatri there. So after this whole tour, Ravana was like a hanging behind his arms. And after the whole thing is over, then he released Ravana. So in this whole episode only, Ravana understood that this is not a person whom I can fight, who can keep me like this locked up. So he understood, and you can see the political mind of Ravana. When he understood that I cannot fight, he took the proposal of friendship. He said that I have come to ask friendship from you. So Wali said, okay. So, so that was the power. So then some people say that if that is the case, if Ram would have made a friendship with Wali only, then the whole thing would have been finished. Just Wali goes there and he makes Ravana order that give back Sita. Otherwise, I'm there. So then the whole thing would have been little easier. Why Lord Ram had a friendship with Sugriva and then he has to kill Wali and things like that. But then here, one thing we understand that Wali was, although he was the son of Indra, so he was his father was Indra, but then his activities were adharmic. Adharmic means he had abducted the wife of Sugriva. Forcefully, he had kept wife of Sugriva in his custody, and he was unnecessarily trying to take away the life of Sugriva. So, because of such activities, in the scriptures also it is said that if somebody is attacking you or your friend, and somebody who has taken all your wealth, or somebody who has taken somebody else's wife, such people are to be punished. And Lord Ram was the king, and because he was the king of Ayodhya, he was the king of the whole Bharatvarsha. And in his kingdom, when such thing is happening, he was there to punish. So there is no wrong if Ram comes there to punish, because he is the king. Another thing is, Ram being a Kshatriya, he has a right to kill animals they used to go for hunting. So when they go for hunting, it's not necessary that you have to kill the animal face to face. Like tiger and many such ferocious animals, the kings, they will do hunting. So here also, if Ram is hunting Wali, that is nothing wrong in that, because a Kshatriya is allowed to hunt ferocious animals. Another thing is said that Wali had some special powers. Whoever stands in front of him, his half of the power comes to Wali, like that boon was there with Wali. So some people say that because of that only Ram did not want to stand in front of him, because if that was the case, Wali's power is there, and half of the Ram's power would have gone to him, and then he would have become more powerful than Ram, and then Ram could not have fight with him. So that's how Ram chose to fight hidingly. But that is not the case. Why? Because even if something comes out of Lord Ram, that's why this verse is there in the beginning of Sri Ishopanishad. Om Purnah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. So that verse says that the Lord is such complete personality that even if something comes out of that Lord, the Lord doesn't become incomplete. Even if the whole complete comes from complete, that complete remains complete only. So that means 1 minus 1 remains 1 only. So if Lord Ram, even if he gives his all power to somebody else, he still remains all powerful. So there was no question of telling that Ram was fearful of Wali or something like that. So, for example, now if you have a Gunda who is very, he has done 23 murders and 15 rapes and whatnot, and the police gets a news that in uh, Borivali East he's coming today night. So what do you think the police will do? They will stand there and they wait for him, and then when he comes, they will announce Hare Krishna. So we have come. So you come on here, and then we'll fight, and then we'll decide. Police will not do that. They will hide there, and hidingly they will shoot him down because their goal is to shoot him, and next day in the newspaper they will be glorified that such and such inspector shot the Don to death, and they will be glorified. No newspaper will say that what is this? This is not proper. Hidingly they shot this Don. Very bad, very bad. Like they should have proper fight face to face. They didn't give him chance. No. So chance is given to gentleman. Chance is not given to rogue. So there was no question of giving any chance to Wali because he didn't prove himself to a gentleman. And specifically when it comes to Lord Ram banishing Sita, that was not exactly like a kind of a irresponsible behavior of Lord Ram towards Sita. But in Ramayana, one demon is there. He kind of did huge tapasya and made the Brahma appear, being pleased with him. And he said that I want to be Amar. I don't want to die. Brahma said that is not possible. So you ask something else. He said, okay, I'll ask something which is very impossible and then I will remain Amar. So he knew that in the whole world, impossible thing is Lord and his Shakti. They are inseparable. So you can see that even the demons, they used to know this, that what is the truth. So he knew that Lord and his energies, for example, we say Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, that means Radharani and Krishna, inseparable. Lakshmi Narayan, inseparable. Sita Ram, inseparable. So he said that till the point they are not separating, I will remain alive. Tathastu, no problem. So he knew that there is no question of separation. There is no question of separation. See, Lakshmi and Narayan, where is the question of separation? So he said that I achieved my goal. But then Lord is, he is the kind of Lord of all everything. So he only has given intelligence to us. So Lord knew that unless, and he was near Ayodhya only, that demon, creating havoc. So this also was one of the reason for separation of Sita and Ram. That only after this condition being fulfilled, that demon was supposed to be killed. Second reason is Ram wanted to taste both rasa. One was being with Sita, that is one special rasa. So that is called as a sambhog. Sambhog means union, and another is called as vipralamba. Vipralamba means separation. So both are having a very intense feelings for each other. The way Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes in this separation mood from Krishna, he tastes that I am away from Krishna. So that is also one very special flavor in bhakti, that one feels that I am away from Krishna. So there are varieties. And another thing is, Ram being a king, he wanted to set an example that how king should be without any blame. Nobody should blame the king. So there are varieties of reasons behind every activity of Lord Ram. So we know them through scriptures, so that we can have full faith in Lord, so that then we can chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, with faith, so that Lord Ram will come in our life and our life becomes meaningful and happy. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. If you can spare another 2 minutes, if there are any questions or any reflections from what you've heard till now, anyone would like to share, and post that we'll just thank Prabhuji and we can end the class. So, anyone, any questions or any reflections? We just have 2 or 3 minutes. You can also share whatever you're taking back from the class, whatever stuck in your mind, something that you thought was really, really good. You can share your realization around that. So I think for me, I'll at least start from my end. I think some very, very practical tips in terms of how we are faced with a mountain followed by an ocean of misunderstanding. So that was something very interesting, and how we have perceptions of other people, of relatives and friends also, and because of that, we are almost all the time living in misunderstanding, and we are miserable, of course, because of misunderstandings, and how that is also reflected in Lord Ramchandra's life. But then, if we have Krishna or Lord Ram as our center, then those misunderstandings can be, easily, resolved, and we can move ahead and actually taste the nectar of Krishna consciousness. So that was something really, really powerful I take away from the class. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Anyone?
Hare Krishna, sir. It was excellent, sir. And really, in the mind, there was a confusion about Ram. Why did he left his wife? Which has been cleared. So, thanks a lot, sir. Thanks to Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay. Any other reflections or thoughts or questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you so much for the lovely class. Something that I take so closely today is what you said, the combination of two, earth and calm, that can actually lead to disaster. And you said peak of happiness and depth of misery. Yes. Thank you. I think now it's going to be application time because Prabhuji, Vijay Prabhuji and Parthiya Das, always tell us so many things. How do we apply? We discuss and all, but this is adding more to it. And request if we can see you again next week. Like, I don't know if that's possible, but it's going to great. It's going to be great to have you back.
Okay. Anyone else? Last comment. Then we will close it.
My 5-year-old daughter was also listening to the story. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll stop here. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. We all let's unmute ourselves and thank Prabhuji for such a wonderful session by loudly chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra once. So everyone, please go on. Please unmute yourself and you all chant together for Prabhuji. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare
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 Hare,
Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare
Request it next time next weekend again. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai.